Hello and welcome to another AIC Productions. Today we are going to be working on my 98 Mazda B4000 truck. This particular wheel bearing is dragging and has a bit of a hum. Also, the very inexpensive shocks I put on are bad and are causing the front tires to have a wave in them on the inside edge. I went and got my alignment checked. Alignment's good, so I'm going to be replacing the front shocks again as well with Monroe shocks. They're a better brand, hopefully better quality. And since I'm taking the wheels off anyways, I am going to be swapping these wheels with those that are on my Jeep as well. So we're going to swap them out for a couple of reasons. One, I want to see if these wheels fit on my truck, and I also want to see if the wheels on my truck fit on my Jeep. So if I ever need to swap wheels for any reason, I will have the ability to do that. So we'll go ahead and get stuff started to take apart, and we'll go from there. Alright, so I decided to start the process with swapping out the wheels on the back. And there's the first one. I've only done one so far, so I'll give it a few minutes. And there's it's compared to on the back the stock wheel. So you can see the aftermarket wheel sticks out some, not a bit, not a ton, but some. And I definitely like that look. It fills the wheel well a lot more, gives a little bit more aggressive of a look, and I like it. It'll also give me a chance to do a better review of these Hercules TerraTrack TG Max tires, which I've really enjoyed off-road, but I haven't done a whole lot of on-road driving on them. So we'll go ahead and finish that up here, and we will be back when I get the fronts off. Alright, so we have the truck up on jack stands, and the jack is there just as a third protection, and then as a fourth I actually take one of the tires and lay it down underneath so that it has one more thing to fall on. That's not me. Now this is the reason why we're doing this, or at least part of the reason, is you can see here, I don't know how well it shows up in the camera, but this is the outside edge, and while it's chipped up because this was the tire that was on my Cherokee from off-roading, you can see this side is actually feathered, so the front edge is lower than the rear edge behind it. You can also see the wear is more severe on this side. So part of this is avoided by rotating your tires every 3,000 miles, which I've done. I only have about 5,000 miles on these tires on this truck, so it is time to rotate them, but it shouldn't be this bad. The other reason why I'm doing this is this bearing, I'm pretty sure is okay. It spins, well, I have four-wheel drive on, so it would be locked, but it spins fairly freely while the one on the other side drags. And I took the brake caliper off on the other side completely, and it still drug. So I'm pretty sure the bearing is bad because of that. And this is what I got to take off next. And Ford sells a tool that clips up underneath these clips here. So there's a groove back here that these sit in. So you have to pop these up out of that groove and then pull the whole thing off. And Ford sells a tool, but it's $150 for the tool. I did find it as cheap as $70, but still a lot of money. So I'm going to try some tips I saw on other YouTube videos on how to get this taken off. So that is going to be the next step. Now, one thing I recommend doing when you're working on your car and you're working on something that's especially axle related or something, you take off the wheel so you can see everything on both sides and so that the car is balanced. But you work on one side, and when it's done, then you work on the other side. So that way, so you get halfway through and you're like, oh man, where does this bolt go? Or I don't remember what this is supposed to look like or how it's supposed to be assembled. You always have a reference on the other side to compare to. So in my youth, one time, I didn't do that, and it left me in a world of hurt. So it's something I definitely learned to do later down the road. So this is we're going to hold up probably at this point tonight and keep working on this either later tonight or starting tomorrow. So for you that we'll pick right back up, but for me it'll probably be tomorrow that I'll be back with you. Do my best to shield it, but the wire method worked like a charm. And there's the vacuum hub there, and you can see it's no longer there, and down there are all my little pieces of wire, and it just popped right off. So I'm going to grab a couple of these and just show you what I did on the other side. I'm not going to take the other side off because, like I said, you do one side then the other. So we're going to just show you what to do on the other side here, and it worked like a charm. So I'll stop here and then be right back with you in a second. Alright, so this side I obviously haven't done yet. So I'm using this wire. This is just baling wire. I have a big old spool of this stuff. I'm cutting it down to 2.5 inch lengths. And then what you just have a pair of wire snips to do that with. And then what you do is I have this little screwdriver here, like a jeweler size screwdriver. Stick it under one of the flaps and just cram the wire down in there. And you do that 12 times, so one wire goes this way and the other one goes this way, and there's one here, or two here, and two here, and two here, and two here, all the way around. And then once you have it all under, I just took this bigger screwdriver and just from the back where it's bumped up, like right here, and I just gave it a little push in one spot, kind of held it out with my other hand here to make sure it didn't spring back, and did that about 3 times, and on the 3rd time it just went and popped right off into my hand. So if you need to do this and you have some baling wire, or you can get some baling wire cheaply, totally the way to go about doing it, because it worked perfectly. Now, one thing to keep in mind, baling wire will go through your tire and give you flat tires, so make sure you pick up all the pieces of baling wire that you used. You don't want to leave those laying around anywhere. So anyways, we're going to go back to the other side here and we're going to take that apart. Alright, so I've now hit an actual stopping point tonight. Dinner's ready, so I'm going to go inside and eat, and it'll be too dark to continue working. But I got my brake calipers off, and I don't know how to get the brake rotor off. It is rusted on there pretty solidly, so I've hit it with some PB Blaster. I'm going to let it sit overnight. Hopefully it'll come off in the morning. And I've actually done the same on this side as well. Now this side doesn't look half as rusted as the other side, so I'm wondering if I want to just get new brake rotors and just get those and install those. I did realize I do have a problem. I am an idiot. I will fully admit to that. I don't have front ABS, so I have the incorrect style of wheel bearing setup. So I'm going to have to go online and order the correct ones. The other thing I'm noticing is this vacuum line. I believe that's part of it as well, and this vacuum tube is completely toasted. It's about as dry rotted could be. So I'm going to have to buy some vacuum hose as well, it looks like. So yeah, that's going to be a little bit bigger project than I was thinking. So far going well. Didn't take a whole lot of time tonight, but it'll be a thing tomorrow. Alright, thank you for watching, and we'll pick up when I get time again. Alright, just got done with work, so I'm picking up where I left off last night. And after doing some research online, the hubs that have the ABS are exactly mechanically the same as the ones that don't have ABS. You just cut the wires if you don't have ABS, so that's what I'm going to be doing. My new shocks were installed today as well, so I'll be throwing those in after I get the hubs off. Now, as far as the brakes, I'm going to see if I can't knock this one off. I just hosed it with PB Blaster last night to see if I can't get it off. If I can't get it off, I'll be putting on new brake rotors and pads, which I don't want to do, but if I have to, I have to. So that's where we're picking up right now. I love the look of my new wheels on here. I also had the glass repair guys out today because the glass on my windshield broke. I had a big old crack. Normally I just leave it because I don't really care that much, but it was breaking across my driver's vision. So if it's on the passenger side, I typically just leave it until it gets pretty bad. But if it actually starts to cross into the line of sight for the driver, that's a ticketable thing. So I get that taken care of. Plus, it is distracting. If it's on the passenger side, I usually don't notice and it doesn't distract me, but through the driver's typical vision, not okay. So got that taken care of. And so we're going to be going and working on these hubs now. So grab my dead blow hammer and see if we can't get this rotor off. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and step through the process here of getting this hub off and then taking the whole thing apart. First thing, these are the pieces of wire. This is a smaller screwdriver. Now these wires are already bent from being used on the other side. I just stick it under there. Let's just stick it in this groove that's along the hub there. And just turn it a little bit. It's a little easier if they're straight and then you kind of bend them as you put them in, but since I've already used these and I don't want to cut more wire, just reusing them. I saw that some guys just use a screwdriver and pop this off. I tried that and it got to the point where I was afraid I was going to break it, and so I didn't do that anymore. Maybe if you've taken these off a couple of times, it might be a lot easier, but as far as I'm aware, this is the first time these have been off, so I don't want to break them. These are kind of expensive to replace. I think they're 70 or 80 bucks depending on where you buy them from. So you don't want to be spending that money if you don't have to. I apologize for the wind noise and my annoying neighbors who like to make a lot of noise when they know I'm outside recording. You need to do this 12 times because there's 12 tabs here along the edge. I was actually surprised at how little is holding these on. Or how much plastic is actually there holding this on, so. Got just 4 more to do, and it looks like I'm missing a wire. So I'll have to see where I dropped that. Not much of the wire has to go under the lip there, just enough to hold it up a bit. This is a pretty heavy gauge. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is because I just have an old spool. I dropped one piece of wire, so I'm just going to hold this one up. I'm going to get behind one of these that's slightly popped up and just twist the screwdriver just a tiny bit, and it pops it out and forward. And off it comes. It's as simple as that, and it's good to go. That's super easy. It didn't take me very long. It took just a couple of moments. Now I'm going to go ahead and take off the brakes. Now on the other side, I only took off the 2 bolts holding the whole unit to the arm here. But because I'm probably going to replace the rotors, I'm going to go ahead and replace I'm going to take this apart so I can replace the brake pads as well. Alright, so we got the pads off. These are 13mm bolts. And there's one up here, one down here, pretty simple. And then it's 15 millimeters to get this bracket off. And one thing I highly recommend doing is the night before you actually start working on this, or if you can even do it a couple days beforehand, hit everything with some PB Blaster, because that will make your life infinitely easier. PB Blaster is a penetrating oil, gets in, breaks the rust up, it makes nuts move a lot easier. You also want a breaker bar. On one of the videos I saw a guy using a ratchet like this with a big old bar over the handle. That's just a quick way to break a very expensive ratchet. Breaker bars are not expensive. They're a lot less money than a ratchet. And so I highly recommend picking one of those up because you'll save your tools. And I mostly know this because I just have destroyed a couple of ratchets doing that until I wised up and got myself a breaker bar. So we're going to go ahead and take... Oh, this has these stupid clips on them to hold in place. And I'm sure it's nice because it holds it in place as you're doing stuff, but almost impossible to take off. There we go. Get it to spin a little bit. Kind of have to break the rust off because it sticks to the rotor a little bit. Once you get it spinning, just twist it off. There might be a better way or the correct way to get these off, but I don't know what that is. This is just the way I get them off. Alright, and I am recording this outside, at least I hope it's recording. And so I apologize for the people walking by and the noise that they make. There you go. Alright, now once we have that off, there are 3 more bolts to get the hub off. This is the actual unit bearing that we're taking off here. Now, I believe it's a 15 millimeter bolt, but it has some sort of ring on it that's preventing me from getting a socket on there. So I just have a 15 millimeter wrench here. Let's see if we can get this off. I hit everything last night with some PB Blaster. Let it soak in. Let's see if I can get it this way. This will be a problem. I have a hard time getting grab on there. Just gonna slide off there. Get this one. Yeah, it's 15 millimeter. So I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to see if I can't get my breaker bar because those are on there. Oh, no, there's a retention thing there. So let me take that off. I didn't see that. So yeah, there's a ring on here that prevents you from getting to the bolts. And I just thought I had to deal around it, but it looks like there's a, I'm guessing a 10 millimeter bolt that's holding that in place. So let me get that off. And there's one there. It's on these 2 bolts. I didn't see one down here, so I didn't see it. So let me get that and we'll be back. Oh, I also forgot on these, there's a C-clip in here I have to get out as well. So I'll take care of that before I forget. I'm getting annoyed when I can't figure out why this isn't coming off. Alrighty. And there she goes. So that's the retention ring there that holds the axle into the hub here. We'll clean that up and get it nice and pretty looking. Here's a 10 millimeter wrench. Let's see if we can get those little bolts off. See if I guessed right on the size. Nope. It's smaller, so let's get a smaller wrench. Alright, that looks like it's an 8 millimeters. If you ever get it to the point where you can loosen it with your fingers, it makes things a lot easier to get it off. don't know if you can see this in the video, but there's the ring that's completely in the way. But now it's out of the way. Let's see, I may have to get my breaker bar. Let's see if I can get the nut on there. Yeah. Socket on there. Oh. Do the top one here, you can see it roll away. Alright, that's bolt number 1. And I know PB Blaster on this last night made this job a whole lot easier than it could have been. Now, I haven't done the other side yet, which is way more rusty. And I'm so not looking forward to it. Ring is... One more to do here. Ugh. Alright, just about got that one out. Alright, there's the last bolt. Now, and it just pulls off like that. I mean, that one was super easy. And it came right out. And you can't hear it, but I can feel it. Feels grindy to me. Like I can feel it grinding there. So now, what we need to do is go get the new one. So I'll go pull that out of the box. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is just visually compare it to the old one. Alright, just to make sure everything looks the same. And this one actually has some broken bits on it, so I'm going to clean up in here. I'm going to throw some grease in. I have some grease, but that looks basically the same. That looks the same. So I'm going to go ahead and go get some grease, and we'll go from there. Now these are kind of interesting because if you get a front wheel drive car, they actually attach here in the back, but because this is front wheel drive, it actually attaches here in the front with this. So this gear slides backwards and forwards. So this spins basically, I believe, just all the time. It's just on there. And then this gear engages these teeth. So it actually powers it from here. And looking again at the differences, this one does not have an O-ring here on that leading edge. So I need to see if it has one in the box, or if I need to dig through my box and see if I have. Oh, and this one is one with ABS. And the reason why I got this one is because I thought I had ABS and I don't. So looking up online, and I contacted the manufacturer, and you can actually go ahead and just cut this wire. Now I'm not going to unplug the actual sensor there because I don't want anything getting into that, because it runs along a ring there. So just take a pair of pliers. Hopefully these are sharp enough. Feels like they are. And there we go. Snip that off and it won't be an issue at all. So like I said, I'm going to get some bearing, some grease in there. I'm going to see if I have the O-ring. So I'm going to pause the movie or the video here for a moment while I go check those things out. Alright, so I have some automotive grease here. I'm just going to hit it, not a ton, just a little bit there. And spread that around. Okay. Alright. Sorry for all the interruptions. I have a wife and 4 children, and I don't always get a lot of peace. But anyways, so put the grease on there. This does have a O-ring on there. We're just going to pop that right in. And we're going to take the 3 bolts For now, we're just going to finger tighten them in. Make sure everything's lined up. You want to do just a little bit in each one because you want to be able to. You want to crank one down because it may cause you to not be able to put in the next one. So let's see here. Now there's this ring back here that you also need to keep in mind because it needs to be screwed back in as well, and you want to make sure that the tabs for those line up. So I get the first one started. So that's the first one started. The second one started. The second one started. And then the third one. Because each one of these I've had to adjust it just a little bit to get the threads to line up. This one's not quite there yet. Here we go. All three are in. They're all lined up. Now, before we go any further, from the old one, the O-ring is still salvageable. I don't have a matching O-ring, and so to save some time and money, I'm just going to reuse this one. I'm just going to wipe it down a little bit. Make sure there's no gunk on it. It's kind of hard because my hands are pretty dirty, but good enough. Go. Now we're going to go ahead and tighten it down. Now again, you're not going to want to crank the first one down. You want to get it going pretty good and then go around and then do the next ones, because this one seems to be pretty liberal in space, but some of these, like when I did a similar job on my 89 Cherokee, there was no wiggle room. If you got it in there sideways at all, it was going to take you the rest of your life to fix it, because once you had it in there even slightly ajar, it was going to it wasn't going to come out or go in. It would just stay. So you had to make sure that it was nice and clean as it went in. So that's just a good habit to have. This one must be a little bit tighter for the retro work. So now I got them all three in pretty far. I'm going to just go around and do this one. Now I'm just getting it to where it won't turn anymore, so I'm not torquing it into place yet. This one I can just turn in my hand. So this side isn't too bad. The other side that's super rusty is the one I'm worried about, but this is to give you an idea of how it should go, because this is going quite smoothly. Okay, that's done. Let's see if this is the last one. And that ring's gone in my way again. Slid down with the bolt. Alright. there's the new thing installed, and last thing we're going to pop on is this. Again, I'm just going to hit it with a small amount of grease, just because it looks like it had grease in it, but that grease is mostly gone. Looks like I'm running out. I need to get some more. I'm just trying to put it on without overdoing it here. Ooh. Alrighty, so it's gonna be harder than I thought. Because it came off pretty easily with the screwdriver. Oh, there we go. Alright, just make sure all the tabs are in. Alright, there you have it. That is done. So now I'm just waiting for the brake rotors and the brake pads. We're going to put new brake rotors and pads on. We're going to torque down the bolts in the back, put the ring back on with its 2 little 8mm bolts, and we're good to go. So I'll show you the finished product at the end of this video. I'm also replacing the shocks again, like I said. Those were delivered today, so we should be good to go on that as well here in a few minutes. So I will do some more follow-up when there's more to show you. Alright, so the student among you will notice that I forgot this. So, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to have to take this off, and then I will put this on. I didn't completely forget, just temporarily. So, that's why I left it here, close by, so I wouldn't forget it. Which I did, but now I haven't, so it's going on right now. Alright, so in addition to doing the hubs, which are now installed, happy with that, I'm also replacing the shocks. These are the ones I installed. They're Strut Tech ones that I had installed not very long ago. They only have a few thousand miles on them, but they're already pretty much shot, because you should put a lot more effort into having them shrink like that, or compress. There's the word I'm looking for, compress. So I went with these KYBs, and they're as expensive for one as I paid for all 4 of the other ones, and I cannot compress them under my own strength. So these should be a lot stronger. They said that they were had more dampening than the factory spec, so I'm hoping that keeps my tires from getting that choppiness on them and wearing out funny. So these are going on in the front. The rear seemed to be okay. I don't have any problems with the tires back there. Probably because the bed is so light. So I've already done the other side. Now I'm doing this side. Once this is done, I got my new brakes and rotors and pads here. So hopefully going to get everything buckled up tonight. Alright, so it's now Friday night at just about 7 o'clock, and I am done. The total job took me, I want to say, about 6 hours. 6 hours total to do all the work. But again, I did swap tires from my truck and my Jeep. Now I need to do something different with the Jeep because the wheels don't fit that well, so I need to figure that one out. That's a different story. But put the wheels and tires from the Jeep onto the truck. Got the new hubs, brakes and rotors, and front shocks, and a new windshield. So a lot of work done in not a lot of time. It was a lot easier than I thought it would be in the end. I attribute that to using quite a bit of PB Blaster and having a lot of patience. Things I used, I'll lay it out here and show that to you. Give me just a second. Alright, so these are some of the tools I used. I have my orange dead blow hammer, my torque wrench, one of them, grease gun, C-clamp. The sockets and wrenches I used were 13, 15, 17, and 19, and 8 millimeters. All of it metric. I use a couple of ratchets and the snap ring, a couple of flathead screwdrivers. So this, as far as tools goes, was very basic and actually didn't require a lot of tools, which is nice when you're doing stuff. You're not having to constantly swap between tools or figure out which is the next tool that you need. But yeah, we're all done. Thank you for watching. This is going to be a bit of a task to splice together because it's a bunch of different parts. Hopefully it's coherent when I'm done, and that it will help you if you have to tackle this job on a Ranger or Mazda with those auto hubs, or the vacuum hubs. So anyways, thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a great evening.